Ani, Bojo, Kwekwe, Tanzi, Scano. It's Catherine and Brian from Moonstarlodge in South Central Ontario, bringing a weekly tarot and oracle reading with channeling for the week of April 21st to 27th. And in this reading, we're looking at ancestors. I heard somebody the other day say it's 200 days to Halloween, and I just checked that, and in fact, as of today, it's 196 days to Halloween. It is an ancestor time, for sure. This is for some people in the world, a very sacred holy weekend, and it's still in the global indigenous tradition, a time celebrating new beginnings, new life, and the word Easter comes from oestra, which is translated into English as estrus, or which we term for the menstrual cycle. So there's a lot going on in terms of the beginning and unfolding. However, the ancestors want to remind us that our lives are still intertwined with theirs. And so I was doing some reading for myself this week and got very strongly the message that the ancestors wanted to come through for the next couple of weeks. And I just checked the transition to the new grandmother, which is the 27th, so the last day of this reading. And we will have entered into Taurus on the 20th, and so that's just at the end of the current week's reading, but moving into the reading we're into our first full day of the Taurus house. So a lot of transition this week. We have a new standard astrological sign, and we have, by the end of the week, the fifth moon cycle's grandmother of listening woman. I'm not going to do much about her right now. I'm going to do a separate little video and pop it on the socials later in the week. In the meantime, I'll show you the decks that we're using. The Tarot of the Weird by Celeste, the Marigold Tarot, because there was uproar in the skeleton cupboard, the Mirror Oracle, which is the companion to the Marigold, by Amrit Brar, both of those. The Dream Song Oracle, this is a new one to me by Angie Sullins, and she's a very good author of tarot. The Beloved Dead, this is an oracle by Carrie Paris and Tina Hart. The Siren Song, this is a two-part pack with a Kipper deck and a Lenormand. Again, it's by Carrie Paris and Tony Savory. I'm just using the Lenormand from this week. Kipper is its own animal. The Dream Keeper's Tarot by Liz Houston, another respected tarot author, and The Relative Tarot by Carrie Paris. And we have Pickup in Row 5. Thank you, dear. I'm just going to move those because they just took a fly on Brian here. So, without further ado, I'll clean up the mess here. Here are the 7 relative tarot cards, and one each from the other decks that I've shown. So with this lunation, the last week of Looks Far Woman, the seer, we are getting rid of anything that stops us from seeing what we need to see for the rest of the year. And our significator is the Ten of Pentacles. So this speaks of having everything, happy family, happy home, enough material possessions, enough resources in the expanded sense of resources, sense of time, sense of energy, sense of life force. And it's the end of the cycle. It's looking at legacy. What are we leaving behind for our families, our community? It's a wonderful card. It means we're safe and stable and predictably into the future. As far as a significator goes, it's amazing. And the ancestor who clarifies this is the King of Wands, the fiery, passionate, joy-filled king who is very much about the fire in the belly, the passion for the future of the community and family. So this is very much the earth. It's very similar as an earth card to this fire card. And so we know that we have an ancestor who is very much demonstrating the attributes of the King of Wands, male or female. Remember, these kings and queens are genderless in that sense. So some ancestor with the attributes of the King of Wands as an archetype is going to make themselves present to us. And this, as a collective reading, the meanings are the overarching issues and aspects that we talk about relate to the vast majority of people. How they relate will be different, but it's the attributes that relate. So we go from the Ten of Pentacles to the Queen of Cups. So another court card. And the Queen of Cups is about emotional maturity, about some introspection here, about understanding our intuition. Cups are about intuition as much as they are about lovingness and emotional strength. So there she is. So another relative or someone in spirit, perhaps a guide, perhaps an ascended master, healer, teacher, will be helping us with the concepts of the Queen of Cups, clarified by the Three of Watches. And in this deck, that's the same as the Three of Pentacles. And this is making gains carefully crafted, often with the help of others, but it's success and it's creative and it's foundational. So this Queen of Cups and an ancestor working with us guarantees success. And this is just amazing so far. Oh, and then we go to the Queen of Wands. So we have the King of Wands, Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands. And she is always the belle of the party, and she would be dressed like this. So we have both the intrinsic or the internalized sense of what's our passion and our in spiritus, inspired by spirit. This is the spiritual element with the fire. We've got both the yin and the yang of it here. And the ancestors will come in with, again, the Three of Pentacles. I just realized that. Three of Pentacles. So this is very much this creative energy. Spirits helping us with this co-creative, sounds like it's very dramatic, energies of the week. And then we come, the middle card here is the Six of Cups. And that's about thinking back with loving fondness, perhaps with rose-colored glasses, on happy times when we are younger. And that is important to do. It isn't wasteful. It helps us remember how far we've come, and it's the holding on to the what's important and letting go of what was perhaps painful back as far as childhood. Because sometimes we recognize patterns that develop from the good things that we loved and wanted in childhood. If we always wanted to be a ballerina and got to be that, we can look back on that with admiration about the growth to do that. And it's clarified here by the Lenormand card of woman. So there is a female ancestor, and this ancestor is watching over us, perhaps part of the past that we're thinking about, but definitely an ancestor who is supporting us, looking at the positive, and that's a good thing. Perhaps giving us information to augment things that we've forgotten. That's always helpful, filling in the pieces. Before I go on, it's important to say that you don't have to be a psychic medium to connect with ancestors. I don't know anybody who I've ever counseled that hasn't said to me that they've dreamt of someone long past and it was a surprise, or they got a message from someone in dreams. Everybody can receive messages from spirit in dreams. And so let's take that and move forward. She's the reminder to me to speak to that. Judgment. Judgment is ours and ours alone to make. What calls us to a perfect life is not anybody else's decision. It's ours and ours alone. So we're being reminded that despite all this support from spirit, it is still our judgment call. And it's clarified by a card called Fall, Fail, and Fly. So this says that, we've all had experiences where we thought something would work out and it didn't, but we've grown from that. So in our selfhood, we are the only judge of what has failed, and we are the only judge of what allows us to fly. Spirit is reminding us of that. So that's important. Don't get wallowed in the negative. Stay with the positive. I love that Geronimo is the King of Pentacles. So here we have another king. Wow. This is the be-all and the end-all archetype here. Now, again, the court cards can be either gender. This is a situation where the ancestors are telling us that we really are going to have and already have and need to be grateful and aware of the pure divinity of everything we've come into this incarnation with. So we start out with this statement from the Minor Arcana, and this from the King, from the court. And it's interesting, it's clarified by an ancestor coming in to tell us there's a promise. This card speaks about ancestral legacy and ancestral promise. A promise could have been made generations ago, and it's now time for it to be fulfilled. That's what that says to me. The definition of this card, according to Carrie Paris, is that a promise, we can't judge promises or be jaded because we've had promises made to us in the past and the person hasn't followed through with this. So it's a reminder that we need to make promises not just to ourselves but to others, and to look very carefully, have we actually fulfilled and maintained our promise to the persons, places, things, pets, whatever circumstances. So to expect others to keep their promises, we also need to keep our promise, including to our own soul. Even if we don't still remember why we're here, but we need to remember to keep the promise to go after that divinity in us. That's such a beautiful card. And finally, we have the Ace of Cups. So we've gone from the Queen, bringing us a brand new emotional and intuitive situation. It's incubating. And the card that clarifies it is Leo. So that tells me it's the last part of July into August. So Leo is the dominant sign in the month of August. So this isn't taking a long time. We just moved from Taurus, and we go into Gemini, and then Cancer, and finally Leo. So know that I'm just listening to Spirit, just clarifying something they want me to say. Yeah. So this is basically spring into summer, and it's fast and it's quick because there's just so much positive energy here. There isn't a negative card in this lineup. I'm gobsmacked. Okay, you can flip the camera, Brian. I have no other words. This is quite an amazing amount of energy on this Easter weekend for the reading for next week. It reminds us to see the good, and to know that any sacrifices that are made by us or for us matter, and they count. Anyway, thank you for listening, and thank you for sending us coffee or PayPal or e-transfers or whatever support that you can, and just giving us a thumbs up and subscribing helps Google to see that this merits being shared with as many people as they will allow. Anyway, we wish you well, and look forward. We're going to continue with these cards next week. Please do leave a comment. I like reading your comments. Aho. Peace.